Welcome, everyone, to today's episode of The Fart Lounge. I'm your host, Ebony Booty 49, and I'm excited to dive into a topic that's really important for building strong, healthy relationships. I actually got many requests to do this subject, so if I need to dive deeper into it, in the future, I can definitely do so. But communicating about your fetishes with your significant other is very, very important. I get a lot of questions of like, how do you, how do you open up to them about it? When is a good time to open up about it? And really, sometimes it's very hard to just give one-off answers because everybody's relationship and situation is different. But I do hope that, some of the things that I tackle here today can help you in figuring out, if the time is right, if the person is the right person to open up to about this, and so much more. So whether you're into something specific like fart fetishism or, other desires, it's very crucial to know how to approach the conversation with your partner, any partner, your spouse, your boyfriend, your husband, your girlfriend, anything. So let's get started. So the first segment is going to be making sure you understand your own kink or fetish. Um, Before we talk about like how to discuss your fetish with your partner, it's very, very essential to understand your own desires. Take some time to reflect on what you're into, why you're into it, and what it means to you. This self-awareness will help you communicate more effectively with your partner. So if you're struggling on understanding your fetish, some things that you could try is one, enjoying the fetish, right? In different ways, whether that's erotica, videos, acting it out, just using your imagination. There's just, writing your own erotica, to figure out what specifically you like and what you do not like. I think even just like having a journal, and it doesn't have to be like a journal, like I'm not saying get a diary, but just like writing out, typing out, your specific interests can really help you pinpoint what you like and why you like it. And it is still important to figure out why you like it, because if it's coming from trauma, that is very important for you to know that, so that you can understand what may trigger your trauma. Now, if it's not trauma and it's just interest, still pinpointing how you got the fetish in the first place can really help you figure out what you do and do not like. Because let's be honest, if you're coming to your partner and you're just, oh yeah, like I like this thing, you need to be able to give them answers. They might have questions like, how'd you get this? What about it? Because like, if you just say like, oh, I just want, I just like farts, they might not understand that. But I truly think like when you humanize yourself and you break it down and you make it easier for someone to listen and understand what you're trying to explain to them, I think it sets the tone to be a lot more welcoming. Another part of it is, like I said before, what it means to you. And so sometimes I do have fans that, in my opinion, it's very, very clear that they prioritize the fetish heavily, which is fine. But what I think it isn't the best way to go about things is to choose your partner based off of your fetishes. And the reason why I say that is because you could be closing out so many people just because they don't directly like what you like. For example, of course, like many of you know, I do have a fart fetish. I've had it for most of my life. I've tried to get rid of it. I've learned to live with it, and now I embrace it. And I've had many partners that, not many, but I've had a few serious boyfriends, and I never felt comfortable enough to directly tell them about my fetish, even though, at least one of them kind of knew. I think he like went through my phone one time, and I didn't close, I didn't close a tab, so boom, there it was. But, the man that I am with now, he doesn't have a fart fetish, actually. He doesn't have any, like, direct fetish that I have. But he has his own interests. And the reason why I bring that up is if I went around the world thinking like, oh, I'm not going to get a husband unless he directly has the same fetish as me, I would have closed the door on him and I would have never been able to experience this wonderful understanding and open and honest relationship that I have today. So with that being said, make sure you understand your fetish, what you're into, why you're into it, and what it means to you. The second portion of this, or the second segment, will be choosing the right time and place. When it comes to discussing your fetish, timing is everything. You want to choose a private, comfortable setting where both you and your partner feel relaxed. That is very important. Not just you being comfortable, not just you thinking it's the right place and the right time. It has to be the right place and the right time for both of you. And avoid bringing it up during conflicts or when your partner is stressed out or tired. Same for you. Don't jump into a conversation because you're flustered. That's the worst thing that you could do. The best time is when you're both calm and collected. Opt for a calm, intimate moment when you both have each other's full attention. And I think this segment right here is one of the most important segments because a lot of my fans, when they explain to me how they went about telling their partner, it's very abrupt usually. It's very abrupt usually, and it's very me. Which, if it's already about you might need to consider going back to segment one and getting to a place of understanding your fetish, as well as considering, is this even the person that I should be telling my fetish to? So, for example, when I told my partner about my fetish, we were both chilling, we were both relaxed, we were already in kind of like that deep conversation mode. And I didn't just wing it out, I ain't just, slap it on the table. I pretty much, kind of like walked into the conversation. We were already talking about, our limits, what we expect of each other, our desires. And, I was like, how do you feel about fetishes? And he was like, honestly, like, I'm not opposed to them. He's like, why do you have a fetish? I said, I do. And he was like, what is it? And I was like, I want you to guess. And so he went off guessing left and right, some that were so crazy. I'm like, really? Like, how'd you even know that was a thing? But even when he guessed it, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even tell him that he was right. He guessed it fairly quickly, like maybe like the 5th, 10th guess. And so then by time, like at the end, I was like, okay, so yeah, you did already say it, and it's farts. And he asked me about it, like, really? Like, he was just very shocked. I was like, yeah. I broke it down for him. I explained how, like, it never really came into, like, reality. It was always a fantasy-based fetish for me. And I just really wanted him to be aware so that, if he did go on my phone, because we were already very comfortable with each other, I wanted him to understand that if he saw something, what it was, So that's how I, explained my fetish to my partner. Everyone's not going to do it the same, and I'm not telling you to do it the same, but take the key elements from how I did it. We were both very comfortable with each other. I already knew that this was the person that I wanted to be with long term. I don't know if I would have shared, scratch that. I know I wouldn't have shared that amount of information about myself if I didn't think that this person was serious about me. And before we leave segment 2, I do heavily want to remind you the right time and the right place for both of you. If you are already in the mindset that it's just about you, then maybe this relationship isn't for you, or maybe you still have a lot of understanding to do. Because if your fetish is your world, you're going to be moving real weird to people around you. And I have a quick example of that. Oh, shit. Hold on. Excuse me. I have a quick example about that. I've had many fans say like, oh, like, I would have dated you, but you're married, dang, like I was late. And I don't even think this does not apply to all my fans. But some of my fans, I don't even think they realize, for me personally, I would not have wanted to date them. And the reason is I / your girlfriend, your partner, your husband, your boyfriend, we are not a fart vending machine. We are not, on the planet to completely be your toy. And I don't think a lot of men realize that. You may be able to tell your girlfriend about your fetish, but if you're constantly bugging her every second about farting on you, that's going to be a problem. If every time she farts, you're like a rabid dog and you're like staring at her, drooling and foaming at the mouth, that's going to be a problem. And even though, yes, there might be some relationships where it's okay to move like that, they still probably have a very deep understanding of each other and a very deep connection. And they might have been doing, or enjoying the fetishes or their fetishes together for a very long time. But popping out the gate like that is going to be a problem for a lot of people, especially women. So, understand your fetish, choose the right time and the right place. All right, let's begin segment 3 about being open and honest, right? Look, this is you trying to tell somebody else about your fetish. So you need to be open and you need to be honest. This, to me, is the most crucial part of the conversation. Being honest and open about your desires. When you are talking to your partner, make sure you're using I statements to express your feelings and avoid making your partner feel pressured or judged. Oh my goodness. Emphasis on pressured. Do not bring your fetish to the table as if this is mandatory or as if you expect them to be okay with it in the next month, in the next week, in the next year, in the next 2 years. That's not realistic for a lot of people. You're telling them something that most people have been taught to be disgusted by. So it might take a while. So make sure you're not sprinting in, making the person feel very pressured about just 100% accepting and wanting to dive, head first into your fetish. Again, emphasis on your fetish. For example, you could say, hey, I want to talk to you about something that's important to me. I've realized I've had a fetish for whatever the fetish is, farts, burps, feet, whatever, and I want to be upfront with you about it. Okay? Look, I'll repeat that. Hey, I want to talk to you about something that's important to me. I've realized I've had a fetish for blah, blah, blah length, for blah, 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 or don't even say what it is yet, and just say, and I want to be upfront with you about it. That's what most people appreciate. It's just honesty and openness. Now, let me say, not every person is going to be able to take this type of conversation, right? You got to be able to read the person that you're talking to, because it's just reality that you liking farts is going to, it's going to freak people out. Someone might be disgusted. I hear a lot of fans that are like, yeah, the last 2 women, they didn't like it, or they called me disgusting, or they, ghosted me. So let them ghost you. There are, billions of people on this planet? Don't get butthurt over 1, 2, 3 people deciding to be like, you know what, your fetish is a little too weird for me. They have the right to be like that. They have the right to say no. So I will say, before you just, meet some chick on Tinder, on Bumble, and you're just like, hey, da 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 da. If you actually want a relationship with this person, don't be like that. Now, if you're just looking around for to get your fix, that's a whole different conversation, and none of this applies. I would still move differently like that personally. But I do know some men who have met girls on Tinder and they have asked them to fart for them and they have willingly done so. But I will say that a lot of these men that have had that experience have been very, very upfront men who aren't trying to, like trick something by. So, even though I know like this is about you and it's your fetish, you still gotta be open and aware of the other person, which is perfect for our next segment. Listening to your partner's concerns. It's essential to listen to your partner's concerns and feelings about your fetish. They might have questions, which is what we just discussed, worries, of course, and even be turned off by the idea. Yes, you have to be honest with yourself. Somebody might be turned off by the fact that you like farts. And again, they have the right to feel that way. But, you know, give them space to process their emotions and to process their thoughts and respond thoughtfully to their concerns, because the conversation is still a two-way street. It's not like you shouldn't expect it to be like, oh, I'm just going to dump this on you and you're just going to take it. No, it's a two-way street. Whether they want to talk to you about some of their desires, whether you guys talk about how you could implement that, or what maybe in the future implementing that, or taking baby steps and being like, okay, I understand that you're not comfortable farting on me yet, but, can we get into smothering? Can you sit on my face? Like, can we do that? Because that's still a baby step and that's still compromising. And you're not just 100% trying to force your fetish on somebody. So I wanted this to be a shorter podcast. Again, if there's any specific questions, you guys know how to reach me. You can DM me on Twitter, Instagram, my website, anything. So I think you can get to that by going to eb49.xyz. So let's just come to that conclusion. Communicating about your fetish with your partner takes courage. It does. But it's a crucial step in building trust and intimacy. My sex life with my husband has changed dramatically each year, year after year after year. And that's because we are just so open with each other and we're honest. We're honest about what we do want to try, what we don't want to try, what our limits are, what our limits are not. But remember to be patient, because like I said, our sex life has changed year after year after year. We do things now that we have never even thought that we would be doing. Like, that's just a part of it. And if you're here and it's literally a spouse, a partner, a boyfriend, a husband, a girlfriend, a wife, things take time and things change year for year for year. So remember to be patient, understanding, and respectful of each other's boundaries. So yeah, thanks for tuning in to today's episode, and I hope you found it informative and helpful. If you have any questions or topics you'd like me to discuss, again, you guys know how to reach me. So thank you. And remember, it's better out than in. Ooh, that one struggled.